Blessed morning, children. I feel extremely delighted to greet you all on this wonderful bright morning. This is me, Bikita, your botany teacher, addressing you. A true education is a harmonious development of physical, mental, and spiritual well being. I would like to welcome you to have a physical, moral, and spiritual well being of yourself. The 10th standard students, you are really blessed to have your lessons on the online and to learn knowledge. This online method of learning really creates much interesting in your subject. Not only that, you are also forced to gain more knowledge in operating the technique apparatus. This biological science class, we will be discussing about the plant related subjects. But before moving into it, not education alone is not going to give you improvement in life. More than that, moral values are needed. I would like to show you a video on moral value. Let's watch that video. Come on, children. Here is a beautiful story about the school children. The class bell rang. It's going to be lunchtime. And when this boy opened his box, he would not find any food in his box. So he moves out to find out whether he could have anything. He drinks the water that is kept in the veranda. After having the water, he comes back to his place, opens his box. To his surprise, he found the box's weight. It is having something inside. When he opened, he found out that it contained foods. Many times, you children are also like that. You shared your love with your friends, you were so comforting to your friends, and I believe that you're missing all your friends on this lockdown days. But we have a hope to meet soon. Let's brush up our memory what we have learned in the last class. Hope you enjoyed watching that video. And now I have few questions with me. I'll be asking them to you. And all I want you to do is take a piece of paper and write the answers for the questions that I'm going to ask. And I'll be dictating the answer at the end of the question section, and let's check your knowledge of understanding. The first question is, the middle part of the leaf is called dash. Write it in the notebook. Number 1, the middle part of the leaf is called dash. Only the answer you write. Is it over, children? Okay. The second question. Stomata helps in dash. Write only the second answer alone. Stomata helps in dash. Is it over, children? Fine. Let's move to the third question. The third question is, Protoxylem lacunae is present in the dash stem. I repeat, Protoxylem lacunae is present in the dash stem. Write only the answer. It's maybe a one word answer like. Fine. We'll move to the last question. Casparian strips are present in the dash. I repeat, Casparian strips are present in the dash. That's it. I've given you 4 questions and I believe you all have written all the 4 answers in your notebook. Keep the piece of paper with you. We will check out what you have learned. Every time, children, whenever you sit for learning, have the habit of testing up what you have learned. Learning is one time gaining knowledge. When you test what you have learned, it's a dual time of learning knowledge. Let's check our answer. You take your test papers and as I dictate the answer, you can mark a tick over the right answer and the wrong over the wrong answers. The first answer is, the middle part of the leaf is called the dash, mesophyll. Second one, stomata helps in transpiration. Third answer, protoxylem lacunae are present in monocot stem. And the fourth one, Casparian strips are present in the root. For this you can also write endodermis. So 4 answers I have told you: mesophyll, transpiration, monocot stem and root. Children, if you have got 4 corrects, all the answer corrects, and it's congratulations for you, and I'm here to give you a golden cup. Keep it up, keep learning more. Always test what you have learned by asking questions and gain more knowledge. And the next group of students who have got 3 answers correct, only 3 answers correct and 1 answer is wrong, you have got a brass medal. And children, you can do better. You have got lost only 1 answer. So keep working hard, read more and more so that all your 4 answers can be correct. Children who have got 2 answers correct, please start learning. You have to learn much. You have to start your work, because in the beginning itself, don't be lagging with your syllabus. Start learning. And for others, you have to come back to school. You need a teacher. You need somebody to monitor you, to make you learn. No, learn on your own and be thorough with your subject. We teachers are here to help you clarify your doubts whenever you want to clarify. Let's move into our biological science class. And our first lesson, that is lesson number 12, consists of plant anatomy and plant physiology. Last video we discussed about plant anatomy, that is types of tissues, monocot and dicot root, monocot and dicot stem, monocot and dicot leaf, and their differences. And in today's class we will discuss about the next topic called the plant physiology. What is plant physiology? What is physiology? Physiology is the branch of study in botany dealing with the physical process or functions of plant. The various activities, various functions that takes place in the plant is discussed in a group of science called the physiology. Number 1, you can take plant growth. For growing of the plant need nutritions in plants. And the third process functions may be reproduction. Every plant has to reproduce its own young ones. And the next process may be transportation. The food has to transport from the leaf to all parts of the plant, and water from the root to all parts of the plant. Transpiration, that is loss of water, the excess water is lost, transpiration. And the next is plant respiration, and the last topic is photosynthesis. So there are many more physiological process happening, but these are some of the major process. And in our class today, we will be discussing about 2 important process. One is the photosynthesis, the other one is the respiration. We will learn them in detail in our class today. As we have discussed previously about physiology, physiology is a branch of biological science which deals with the functions of various processes that is happening in the plant. So like transpiration, photosynthesis, nutrition, respiration, all these processes have been studied by an expert and has been elaborately discussed to us, and we call that person as the father of physiology is none other than Stephen Hales. Stephen Hale is an Englishman, and he has contributed much for the physiology, pneumatic chemistry, and to measure blood pressure. He was born in September 17, 1677 and died on January 4, 1761, and he was awarded the Copley Medal, and he was educated in the University of Cambridge. This Stephen Hales, he did not specify himself to biology alone but also in various other fields. He equally gave his contribution to the field of chemistry and in the field of zoology. Here he discussed what is happening in the photosynthesis. How does the food gets prepared? What is the energy locked in it? Is the basic structure for life. The cell is present is both in the plants and animals, but it has certain differences. The plant cell has cell wall, it has got a large vacuole and plastids. These three are not present in the animal cell. Animal cell lacks cell wall, plastids are not present, and vacuoles, they may be very small and minute. So plant unique character is the presence of plastid. What is this plastid? It's a colorful organelle. We'll discuss about plastid. Let's look into the types of plastids. Plastids are of three types: chloroplast, chromoplast, leucoplast. Chloroplast gives green color, and chromoplast, they are responsible for yellow, orange and pale colors, and leucoplast are colorless one. This chromoplast are present in all parts of the leaf, and they are very much useful for the photosynthesis as they contain the chlorophyll pigment. This chromoplast, they have the material pigment called xanthophyllin, carotenoids and keratins. As a result, they look in yellow and orange color. This leucoplast, they are colorless and named as amphoplast, aleuroplast and elioplast. The amyloplast stores the starch, and the aleuroplast stores the protein, and elioplast stores the chloroplast. Is the organelle present in the plant cell, which consists of the chlorophyll pigment in them. As a result, the plant looks green in color, and this chloroplast is very essential for the photosynthesis. This chloroplast is present mostly on the leaf of a plant. As we have learnt in the anatomy, the leaf consists of a mesophyll region between the upper and the lower epidermis. This mesophyll region consists of palisade parenchyma, which has the chlorophyll pigment having the chloroplast in them. So most of the leaf tissue consists of the chloroplast. This chloroplast, which is present in the leaf, are specialized organelle found in most plant cells. This chloroplast consists of the chlorophyll, which is responsible for the plant's green color and ability to absorb energy from sunlight. The energy is used to convert water and atmospheric carbon dioxide into sugar. They metabolize through the biochemical process of photosynthesis. The chloroplast structure is discoid in shape, which has got two membranes, the outer dark green and the inner light green. In between you can see the purple color. That purple color layer is intermembranial space, the space between two membranes. And inside, when you open, you can find many disc shaped structure. This is called thylakoid. The thylakoids are arranged one below the another and forms the grana. The grana are arranged in stalk-like structure, many in number, and one grana is connected with the another through the internal granal lamellae. Each thylakoid is a disc-shaped structure having the chlorophyll pigment on them. This chlorophyll pigment helps in absorption of the sunlight, and thylakoids are the site not only for photosynthesis but also for the synthesis of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, that is the energy molecule in the cell. Thylakoids also contain accessory pigments, enzymes and electron transport system. Inside the body you can find circular DNA, starch granules and the lipid locules with ribosomes. Let's learn how to draw the structure of the chloroplast. The chloroplast consists of two membranes, the outer membrane and followed by the inner membrane. In between the two membranes you got the intermembranial space. Inside the inner membrane, it is filled with a fluid called the stroma. or the matrix. On this matrix, you can find a coin-like structure, that is the thylakoids arranged. Thylakoids are arranged one above the another and they form a structure called the grana. In a chloroplast, you will find more than 60 to 40 granas present in a chloroplast, and each grana is connected with the another one with the help of the interlaminar frit. So this is a diagram of we are going to draw, and in the matrix you can find the connection, that is by the frit, interlaminar frit. And in the matrix you can find the ribosomes, DNA, material for the various functions to take place, and you can find the granules, starch granules also. Children, practice drawing the diagram. Drawing diagram will help you to have a better understanding of the concept. Let's look into the functions of chloroplast. Photosynthesis, storage of starch, storage of fatty acids, storage of lipids, and formation of chloroplast. So these are the basic functions of a chloroplast, of which we are going to take the first function, photosynthesis, and learn in detail. Let's move into the physiological activity in the photosynthesis. Photo means light and synthesis is to build. It is a process by which autotrophic organisms like green algae prepare their food. It is a process by which plants turn water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide into oxygen and food. It is a simple form of a sugar. This is what we have been learning in the lower classes. The sunlight, the carbon dioxide and water, they enter into the plant, and as a result the out product is oxygen and the food. How does it happen? So the raw materials here are sunlight, water, pigment and the carbon dioxide. Sunlight hits upon the chlorophyll pigment, and as a result they break down the water molecule and results in the formation of carbohydrate. This is what we have been learning in our lower classes. But now in 10th standard we can see photosynthesis in a little higher level of knowledge. We will learn them step by step. We saw that water, sunlight, pigment and carbon dioxide are important. We'll move into the photosynthetic pigments now. Photosynthetic pigments are divided into two types. First one is principal pigment containing chlorophyll A and bacteriochlorophyll. The second one is the accessory pigment consisting of chlorophyll B, C, D and carotenoids having the keratins and xanthophylls, and the third group called phycobilin consisting of the phycoerythrin and phycocyanin. This is not a single process. It takes place in two steps. One is called the light dependent photosynthesis, called the light reaction. This light reaction was discovered by Robin Hill in the year 1939, and in this light reaction the presence of light is very important, and we need the chloroplast organelle thylakoid membrane where the light reaction takes place. This thylakoid membrane has a photosynthetic pigment which absorbs the sunlight and converts the sunlight into chemical energy, that is ATP and NADPH2. So in the first step of light reaction, the sunlight energy, the solar energy is converted to the chemical form of energy, that is ATP and NADPH2. In lower classes we would have learned that oxygen is evolved and food is produced. It is not so like that. It takes place in two steps. In the first step, only energy molecules are generated. We call this as the light reaction. Children, you would be wondering what is this ATP and NAD? Let's see what is ATP. ATP is adenosine triphosphate. ADP is adenosine diphosphate. NAD is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, and NADP is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. Let's take ATP and ADP. ATP is triphosphate. So when one phosphate is removed, we call it as adenosine diphosphate. The same way, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. To this, if a phosphate is added, NADP, it becomes, and it is called as nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. See, the ATP and the NADP, these two are the energy rich molecule. When phosphate is added to ADP and NAD, it becomes an energy rich molecule. So what are the energy rich molecule here? ATP and NADP. In the light reaction, energy molecule ATP and NADP is found. Now the second half of the photosynthesis is called dark reaction, which is also known as light independent reaction or biosynthetic phase. This was discovered by Kelvin Melvin, for which he was awarded a Nobel Prize. And this reaction takes place in the absence of sunlight. Children, you may be knowing that photosynthesis requires sunlight, but half of the photosynthetic reaction called the dark reaction does not require the sunlight, and it takes place in the stroma part of the chloroplast. What happens here is the carbon dioxide CO2 is reduced to carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is the food molecule by the energy ATP and NADPH2 produced from the light reaction. So in second step only food is formed. Photosynthesis is very interesting topic to learn. In lower classes you would have learned it is by converting the carbon dioxide into food molecules, but it takes place in two different reactions. One is the light reaction, the other one is the dark reaction. Light reaction was discovered by Robert Hill and dark by Kelvin Melvin. Light takes place in the presence of light and dark reaction in the absence of light. Light reaction takes place in the thylakoid of the chloroplast and dark reaction takes place in the stroma of the chloroplast. Now in the light reaction, three components are taking place: pigment, sunlight and water. As a result, it forms the ATP and NADPH2, the energy molecule. This energy molecule alone is taken to the second level of reaction, that is the dark reaction. In dark reaction, you don't have sunlight, you don't have water, you don't have the pigment playing role there. Only the energy which is produced from the light reaction reduces carbon dioxide CO2 into carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is nothing but the food molecules. So photosynthetic pigment is present in light reaction, photosynthetic pigment is absent in dark reaction. Sunlight is present in light reaction, sunlight is absent in dark reaction. And here the energy is converted to chemical energy, where here the chemical energy converts the carbon dioxide into carbohydrate, which is a food molecule, which is an energy giving substance. Hope you understand the two reactions of photosynthesis. Now we'll move on to the factors affecting photosynthesis. It's of two factors. One is the internal factor and the external factor. The pigment, leaf age, accumulation of carbohydrate and the hormone makes up the internal factor. A pigment, the coloration, chlorophyll pigment, if it is not much available, the photosynthesis will not take place. Leaf age, if the leaf is old enough, the leaf withers down, so where the photosynthesis will not take place. And they cannot accumulate carbohydrate. You can see many minute leaves. In small leaves, much of food cannot be stored, so photosynthesis is not possible over there. And hormone also plays an important role. The growth hormone, auxin, cytokinin has to be present. Coming to external factors: sunlight, carbon dioxide, temperature, water and mineral elements. They also contribute to the photosynthesis. Very high temperature will not help the photosynthesis. It needs a normal moderate temperature. Much of water will also not help in the photosynthesis. They need sufficient amount of water for it. So these are the factors, external factors, which help in the which affects the photosynthesis. In glycolysis, it is splitting up of glucose molecule, where a 6 carbon compound glucose is splitted into two molecules. One molecule of glucose is splitted into two molecules of 3 carbon each, pyruvic acid. So in glycolysis, it starts with glucose and the end product is pyruvic acid. So this process is called the glycolysis. It takes place in the presence of oxygen. I repeat again, splitting up of glucose molecule into two molecules of pyruvic acid. The next stage in the aerobic respiration is Krebs cycle. This takes place in the mitochondrial matrix. The end product of pyruvic acid taken from the glycolysis is entering into the mitochondria, where oxidation takes place and pyruvic acid is converted to carbon dioxide. This takes place in a cycle-like manner. We call that cycle as tricarboxylic acid cycle, which is also known as TCA. Let me make it again. Let me repeat it again. In glycolysis, glucose is converted to pyruvic acid. In the Krebs cycle, pyruvic acid is oxidized to form the last stage of aerobic respiration is electron transport chain. It is a complex carrier connected with many substances located on the inner membrane of the mitochondria, where NADH2 and FADH2 molecules formed during glycolysis and Krebs cycle are oxidized to NAD and FAD, releasing energy. So very simple concept is taking place. NADH2 and FADH2 is formed in glycolysis and Krebs cycle. They are the energy molecule. These energy molecules are reduced, oxidized to NAD and FAD, leaving out energy. So energy is released. This energy are used for the oxidative phosphorylation, that is adding of adenosine diphosphate to adenosine triphosphate. Let's discuss further about the electron transport chain. Krebs cycle and the glycolysis produces the energy rich molecule NADH2 and FADH2 with the energy rich substance in them. They oxidized to form NAD and FAD. While oxidizing, H2 is released. This H2 is also known as the electron molecule. These electron molecules are released, which are absorbed by the ADP. ADP is nothing but adenosine diphosphate. It has got two molecules of phosphate. So this phosphate with two molecules, where the electron comes and join there and helps in the fusion of the third phosphate with that, which is called, results in the formation of ATP. So ADP having two molecules of phosphate, now due to the presence of the electron, phosphate joins with ADP to form adenosine triphosphate. This formation of adenosine triphosphate is called as oxidative phosphorylation. Very important term you have to learn is oxidative phosphorylation. Phosphorylation is addition of phosphate. We have discussed about the aerobic respiration so far and the three stages through which the energy molecules are released. Now we'll move on to the next topic, anaerobic respiration. This anaerobic respiration takes place without oxygen, as it does not need the presence of oxygen. This anaerobic respiration is also called as fermentation. Most of the fermentations that occurs in nature, in the industries and beverages, are due to anaerobic respiration, that is due to the absence of oxygen. Here The food particle, usually the carbohydrate, is converted to carbon dioxide, but here it is converted to ethanol or lactic acid, which we will discuss in our next slide. So anaerobic respiration does not release carbon dioxide, but along with the carbon dioxide they also release ethanols and lactic acids. This anaerobic respiration is of very useful in the commercial market, because it is producing the beverage things for curing of tea leaves and coffee leaves, etc. So here it takes place without the presence of oxygen, therefore it is called anaerobic. In bacteria, this glucose is converted to lactic acid. So here the fermentation of glucose is done by lactic acid, and in plants glucose is converted to ethanol. Ethanol is an alcoholic substance, so in plants the fermented product of glucose would be ethanol, and in that is you can also take yeast for that sake. And in bacteria the glucose is converted to lactic acid, whereas in aerobic respiration glucose. Moving to the last topic of this lesson, that is respiratory quotient. A respiratory quotient is denoted by the alphabet capital R, capital Q. As we read, it's a quotient, it's going to be a dividing factor. So respiratory quotient is a calculating method. It is a ratio of volume of carbon dioxide liberated and the volume of oxygen consumed during respiration. It is expressed by the formula volume of carbon dioxide liberated by volume of oxygen consumed. So how much of carbon dioxide is liberated to how much of carbon dioxide is consumed. So I hope you had enjoyed learning this class, children. And in this class we have discussed about the physiology topic, that is the photosynthesis, the structure of chloroplast, its function, the plastids, the pigments, the light reaction and the dark reaction. And we also discussed about the respiration, the mitochondria, structure of mitochondria, how to draw mitochondria, and the types of respiration: external respiration, a cellular respiration, aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration, the stages in aerobic respiration: glycolysis, Krebs cycle, electron transport chain, and at the last we also dealt with the respiratory quotient. All these topics sounds very good. These are the basic foundations for you to go for your 11 and 12 classes. Children, if you have any doubt, feel free to ask, clarify it from me, and I am always ready to explain and extend my help for you. And I have given some assignments at the back, and very important one is I want you to draw the diagrams in your notebook and learn the answer. Stay safe, be happy. Meet you soon in our school campus. God bless you, children.